Bump. HFR from the floor. Bob Heffernan. Miss Trade, Matt Davio, Market Vitals, the stream. MarketVitals.io is our website. Our sponsor is Shrimp Mojo Spice Rub. This rub is so good that you make shrimp kebabs with the rub, and you will beat the shit out of anybody for the last Shrimp Mojo. It's just the truth. Working on call lines, Matt. I don't know. Matt's still not having any Shrimp Mojo in the house, as the delivery supply chain has been messed up terribly.
They're all in Ottawa right now.
Everybody's in. How about the videos of the cops saying, "Hey, good job, have a nice time."
How about the high-fiving each other?
Can you see a bigger difference than the 2020 BLM riots for change? And the Canadians, I saw him cleaning a statue.
I saw that too.
Did you see that? Yeah. Who was that? Prefontaine? Who was that? What was his name?
It was probably a hockey. No. It was
the guy that ran across the country with cancer,
right?
For cancer awareness. Fantastic Canadian story. Who would have thunk it that the Canadians are going to be the ones that do this? Matt, this just in. A funeral ad with a half-naked woman in coffins slammed as tasteless and offensive. These Russians, man, they know what they're doing. Who wouldn't want to spend eternity?
I sent it to my kids and said, "Here's where you can go buy my casket. Maybe we should go check it out."
We were going to bring up the ruble because we have a Russian theme here, and Monday motivation here for all you traders. If this could become vodka, you can become anything you want to be. Let's not forget, mindset is incredibly important, Matt.
No, but seriously, what are the Russians really doing? They're capitalists. They're taking advantage of the situation, and they're having a good time. They always have a good time over there in Russia. And as you said, if they run out of fuel, they could always,
you can burn your vodka for sure.
Burn your vodka, yeah.
We're going to talk fuel. We're going to talk natty in a second, but first,
let's talk a little ruble just for the fun of it.
Okay, yeah. Bring it on.
It is trading. It got down here just recently as the dollar peaked. By the way, the dollar just got another new high. Dollar hit 97.40 or so on Friday. Nobody was talking about it. Everybody's short the dollar, so it will continue to go higher. We said 97.50 was the next range. There we are. And let me just bring that up real quick because
talk to me about the ruble.
Ruble's it's bearish, but it's trying to bounce off the bottom here. The 610 chart, it's been hammered like every other currency versus the dollar. I mean, the dollar is the world's power still. I don't know. You can talk about all the saber rattling you want, but this is what it's about. Our dollar, is doing better than anybody else's still today. As we head to,
let's go to the dollar then.
Well, but as we, this is important.
How much lower could it go? It can't go to zero. They got a lot of oil.
They do have a lot of oil, but here's the thing. The Olympics kicks off this week, and Xi is basically coronated again as and if this goes well, he will be basically anointed as only the second person to head up the CCP for his lifetime. So this is really a big deal in China beyond the Olympics that most people don't realize. And I think he's already taken over the shit that's happening in Canada, Australia, US is all China influenced, and people don't realize that how easily the Western cultures could have been and have
co-opted,
have been bought by the Chinese. So,
all right, let me talk about heroism. Okay. What it looks like, Matt. What it looks like. You're still sharing. We don't need you to share. There we go. Heroes, Matt. We've talked about it before, the fine young men that stormed the beaches in Normandy, Iowa Beach, the Canadians. But this one that you shared really blew me away. A Polish intel officer volunteered to infiltrate Auschwitz and was the first to report the truth of what was going on there. He was assigned Auschwitz inmate number 4859 and spent 3 years in a fucking concentration camp. His name was Witold Pilecki. God bless him, because you see that and you understand what heroism is. And then you see this punk. I mean, what else do you need to see? Oh, yeah, he tested positive. Now he ran from his country because a few truckers were going to, and a fringe amount of truckers, first of all, a fringe with unacceptable views because they're different than mine. I don't know what else the world needs to see to call these people out as the giant gashes that they are.
Well,
because it's ridiculous. The most polite people on the planet, the Canadians, have massed in Ottawa to say, hey, you're a turkey. You're an idiot. We don't follow this kind of bullshit. I don't know. It blows me away. And then, hold on, I'm not done. Because then you got our fearless leader, Gavin Newsom, enjoying the Los Angeles Rams. A great performance by the Rams, by the way, coming back down 10. It's, I mean, can you just rub it in the Commons' faces any faster or harder than they are? Right. It's unbelievable. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. This is not a hero, this guy right here. Not a hero.
I like Magic. I like Magic because Magic took advantage of his God-given athletic skills and is now a super successful businessman because he parlayed what he earned playing basketball into owning a piece of the Rams, the Lakers, you know, the movie theaters, all the businesses he's involved with. And then you get the virtue signaler trying to sneak in and get a picture with him. And I understand why Magic is, because he's got to play the game too. Unfortunately, he's got to play the game with the state of California, right? So he's got to play the game. But before you move on to that, Bob, I just got to say this. I mean, when you see this tweet from your esteemed prime minister, I mean, how can you not puke? This morning I tested positive. I'm feeling fine. I'll continue to work remotely because I don't work anyways. I'm just playing with my schneasel. And I will follow.
Hey, speaking of Schneasel, did you say somebody shared that his plane tags? He was in Berlin. Was he with Klaus?
Yeah, probably
getting his directives.
For what totally getting his directives. And then he ends it with, "Everyone, please get vaccinated and get boosted." My response, which you could still see right here, why would you need to get a shot to get the vid? You joker, keep on hiding, you putz.
By the way, it's just right underneath that one.
I know.
Just right underneath that one, it's showing it the tag from his whatever they call the Canadian
his private
version
plane
of the Prime Minister's plane.
That's right.
He's running over for what is he? Sensitivity lessons on how to deal with truckers.
How to deal with mother truckers, or as they're now calling it, Truckistan.
Truckistan in Ottawa. All right, Matt, let's it looked cold there. It looked cold in Ottawa. I got the commitment of traders up here behind me. Let's jump to natural gas, and then we'll come back to the ambiguity around these equity markets with a chart like this, and then what I've been reading about the options plays. Bring up Natty Gas, and let's talk about it.
Natty Gas, let me bring it up here, Bobby. Hang on one second. It's had a heck of a rally from that 360 level that we were talking about back in December. And we said you probably could get long for the comeback test. And sure enough, it has. Now, what's interesting is it got back up here to that $5 levels, pulled back a little bit here, 480 right now, still up another 3.5% today. But it did get up to, it was 507 this morning, right? What's interesting is although oil continues to make new highs, we are not seeing that same case in natural gas. Right. So, which again makes sense. We're kind of coming to the end of the season as far as like demand is going to wane here as we, every day goes by, the winter gets closer and closer to being over. So even though we're only a month into the winter, 6 weeks, technically people have already, bought what they need for the year typically. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't go higher, but I would suspect we're going to have a difficult time getting over this golden ratio 530, looks like to me. And, we might have one more push to take us to that, but I don't know if we're going to see that new high again this round, this season, Bob. I just don't know.
I'll bring up the crude since you mentioned it. Bring it up.
Crude is off a little bit today. It was, again, traded up towards 89 towards the end of last week and is today, I think it was, last I looked, I think it was in the 87s. Let me just get it here if I can get it. 87.47 as we speak. Again, the high, we did see, let's see, right around 89. I think we ticked it just the last couple of days. Let me give you the short-term chart so you can see that. But that is a new high, and we traded up to 88.87. So there you go. And it's really been here, kind of in balance, coming back to the balance. It's either
I
going
was
to
just going to
rotate.
say, I mean, when I look at that chart, the first thing I think of is that
Kind of looks like a short in here, but
yeah, it's a pretty well established.
It's a decent
lot
short
of
with
trading.
It's a short with a decent stop above 89. So yeah, 87.
By the way, you have to understand that most of the time coming out of Matt's mouth is it's a short. Sold. Hey, listen, I love that. I'm partial to that myself.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't have to own it to sell it? Okay,
Right.
Sold.
Fine, sold. Sell
I'm
first.
at commitment of traders.
I always wanted that vanity plate. Sell first.
Sell first, exactly. Ask questions later.
Yep.
Commitment of traders. It's usually out on a Thursday, right? So it's always
Comes out Saturday mornings.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I think it used to be a Thursday. It's Saturday morning, but it's when's the cutoff on the compilation of the data? It doesn't matter. It's lagging a little bit.
I think it's Wednesday. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's showing non-commercials are long up the ass still here.
Yeah. Specs are definitely long. And, nothing. Matter of fact, the longest they've been during this entire period, I think, we have not been that long. So interesting to watch. Again, this is not like, to me, it's never been like real tradable short term, but on the long term, it's real tradable. Like the higher it goes, the more you want to fade the retail and the speculators. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're into that zone where you're like, wow. Okay.
Well, I will say it too, that I saw a tweet earlier today from Danny Riley talking about the rebalancing flows, and he's got some good intel, especially on those type of things. Mm-hmm. And so maybe we have a rebalancing flow today, tomorrow, the end of the month, the first of the month. For sure, there's been a ton of chatter about this was a dip to buy, and I got to tell you, somebody shared the tweet with Morgan saying that this is bear market rallies and we continue to look for opportunities to sell. I swear to God, I thought they said last week that this was the dip to buy. I mean, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth.
Well, that way they can't. It's like listening to Jen Psaki tell us that crime is not up in the country yet. At the same time, she tells me that that's bad conservative misinformation. No, Jen, look at the stats. It's real. Crime, murder has doubled since you and Joe have gotten into the residency.
I don't know, man. It's a confusing time. That's all there is to it. Man,
let me just show it here, Bob. I wanted to just show, this is the SPOOs right here, the E-mini, okay? And the non-commercial.
Now, this is the commitment of traders, the actual released report.
Yeah, this is the actual report. The longs, 462,000 contracts, shorts, so it's 2-to-1 on the non-commercial, so that's retail. On the commercial side, again, you see that the big boys are short in that short here. So I tend to lean, this is important information because, as you said, the banks are getting short, the Fed is getting short, and retail now is getting long. So there you go. That's really how I use it. There's really not much more to it, but that's the way I look at this whole thing, is that, it's not, I still don't think now's the time to buy the dip. I mean, even though we're up almost we are up 1,000 points from the low off the NASDAQ, 13.7 to 14.7. But don't forget, half back from the all-time high is 15.2. I would love to sell 15.2. Please get me to 15.2 tomorrow. Because I'm impatient. I can't wait for another week.
Tomorrow. Please, tomorrow. Matt, I had another share and I can't find it. But Zero had shared a thought about Joe Rogan, and they kind of said they insinuated that he caved a little bit. And he had a comment right out on Instagram saying, sorry, I'm not sorry. But I thought it was interesting that they want to put a disclaimer on his podcast, and he's okay with that. And I came up with the disclaimer, caution. this has intelligent people talking about complex issues. Like, it's unbelievable how they try to frame the narrative. Like, all of his 200 million followers are not, what did CNN say? Not sophisticated or something like that.
And
Like,
CNN has what, 300,000 people left in the world watching them. I mean,
is that unbelievable?
give me a break, dude. It's just stupid.
I don't know. It is a clown world beyond belief.
Clown world, like you said.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the stuff, Spoos, I would not want to try to fade this rally end of the month, beginning of the month, but I for sure will be teeing up and concentrating and overweighting short setups once this flow has ceased. That's kind of the way I'm approaching it.
Yeah, but again, February. I'm looking at the bonds more than anything, right? The bonds aren't telling me that this rally is going to last much longer. So sorry, it's not telling me that. Matter of fact, the bonds aren't making new highs as the indices are. So they made their highs last week, tickling up there to 156 on the ZB. We got up to 156.5. Today we're sitting at 155.11. Matter of fact, when I look at that chart, it just looks bearish to me. So be careful chasing this. Like you said, I would love to sell it higher. I just don't know how much these.
Well, you got the 50% retracement somewhere around 45.12 in the Spoos.
Yeah, and that's 15.2 on the Nasdaq. So that's another, it's another 400 points, which is just what we've done today. Like I said, we'll do it by tomorrow and be done with it. There we go.
Not only that, there's no saving the monthly candle.
You can't save it. Today's the last day. We will be red, period. Here's the bonds. Here's what I was just talking about, just so you can see this. But again, we traded up here to 156.20 last week, about a week ago. Matter of fact, a week ago from today. And we haven't been able to go higher. So interest rates aren't going lower. The Fed is not going to save you. This is not March of 2020. And I've said this 6 times, but I'm going to say it again. There you go.
Say it one more time. It's true though. The Fed, the federal government, with the stimmy, like none of that is on the horizon here.
None of it is available and is going to keep propping up equities. So the equity rally that we had was because that money came into the market that wouldn't have been there normally, and it propped it up harshly. And now we got to pay for that harsh movement. It's the inhale exhale. It's like, okay. It's like being Hunter Biden. You can get high and have 3 whores, and in your 20 minutes, when that wears off, you need another rock, and then you got to go to dad to go get another deal in Ukraine. It's a bad cycle.
Inhale, exhale. I like that. Yeah. Hey, Matt. Speaking of inhaling and exhaling, and doing mushrooms, I'm getting on board in the NFTs. Now, I've spent more than a few weekends.
Move that over to the other side. That looks like a rabbit right there. It's rabbit, actually. No, it's a rabbit.
This is like the 5th one that I found. Matt, who doesn't like going to the beach, right, and picking up driftwood, all right? And I have this knack because I've been the first one's the best one. Let me bring out the first one. So anyway, I'm gonna do an NFT, man. It's gonna be called Driftwood Duck.
It's gonna be called Wood Duck.
Driftwood. I mean, look at this guy.
That's more like a pelican.
You want to call it driftwood pelican?
Yeah, that's more like a driftwood pelican.
No, man, it's a duck. It's a merganser.
It's a pelican that lost in an air battle with another pelican. He got his beak chopped off.
Spent who knows how long at sea, drifting around, washed up on the Oregon coast, and I bent right over and picked it up. Driftwood duck. I don't know how to incorporate it as an NFT. But I'm working on it. I'm where people are selling, scowly faced monkeys for $100,000. I don't know how that's possible.
By the way, did you see Kanye out for dinner in LA this weekend?
Bizarre face. That is awesome. That is awesome. Was it cold? Why isn't his hands out of his jacket?
I had a gun in there.
All right, man. I don't know. It's a Monday. I'm a little long. I'm a little bored, and I got nothing else to give. I don't think. Let me see. Oh, this is what I want. Before
I do
we
have
go,
one more. Seriously, I have one more headline for you to comment on, and here's what it is. I mean, you tell me what you think about this. You know, Jen Psaki mocks Americans that are saying soft on crime policies are what is driving. And she says, "What are you talking about? There's no crime in America. You must be living in an alternate universe."
well, listen, why doesn't she have her next press conference at, I don't know, 38th and King Drive in Chicago? In fact, not even on King Drive. Move it like 4 blocks west. And she could just, walk around the neighborhoods and talk to everybody about how there's no crime. That's fine. That'd be an awesome idea.
So early predictions of Super Bowl. You got 2 weeks until the game now. I got everybody in every city telling me that Jim Harbaugh is leaving to go to their city. Minnesota, I was hearing yesterday, he's going to be the Vikings head coach. The Dolphins, he's going to be the head coach. Raiders have already picked somebody else. That was the one that I thought that could get him. I think if Jim is smart here, I think he is playing his hand and wants to be the coach infinitum until he dies in Ann Arbor. That's the contract I would be going for. And with that, I would be freeing up that NIL money. Is that what they call it? The money.
Yeah, it's like the NFT money.
Right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's for the kids. So they can
PSL,
put their
personal seat license for your face.
so they could put their face on, wood ducks and call it the,
driftwood duck. It's going to be huge. I'm
the
telling
driftwood
you
duck.
now.
Right. And they can sell those in their likeness and their name.
Matt, one more reason why the fellow Bears out there, not the Chicago Bears, who hired a person I've never heard of before. But he's a defensive guy. Listen, Matt, defenses win championships. And if you're a Bear fan, you'd rather have a 6-3 game anyway.
Right.
Well, I wanted to bring this up, shared by and copyrighted by Martin Armstrong and his cycle work.
Yep.
We're early here. March 14th, thereabouts, 2022 is the next cycle leg down. Keep that in mind because for me, that says anywhere between now and April is.
Yeah, but the confidence model doesn't necessarily parlay into the indices. So keep that in mind, people. It doesn't mean the indices are going down. It just means the confidence in the overall economy is starting to roll over. Now, I would suspect that should mean, prices and markets would do the same, but it could also mean we go higher, just so you know.
I kept.
That's
you know
my
what
best,
amazes me?
That's my best. That's my best attempt at being.
I got to tell you, this is what amazes me the most about today's society: the confidence with which these fanatics talk their position, and not only that, the confidence that they speak with zero backup. So Joe Rogan is serving up misinformation. Well, what misinformation in particular? He's serving up misinformation. Well,
it's the same. No, but you understand this. Like I was just talking about this with somebody this weekend. It's very simple. Science and misinformation are the triggers now. Neither of them mean what they're saying because they can't tell you what the science is. Because when you present them with the actual science, they go, "Oh, it's not true." And then when misinformation, now that's the word. Same thing. When I provide you data, oh, that's not true. It's just if it's not jiving with mine. Like I was trying to read some doctors this weekend that are pro crazy, and first of all, I don't think they're real. I think they're just made up social media accounts. When I read this stuff, because they all read the same. They all read like they're coming from a script. Anyways, I don't hear any, and none of them have any data. The point is, the ones on the other side don't come up with the data. All these studies that are being done. I mean, the Japanese again just came out today and had a huge study. Ivermectin said it works. It works. Take it. You'll prevent anything that the vax is doing. I mean, it's right there. I mean, so you can talk about it all day, but
it's unreal though. That's the world we live in. He's serving up in misinformation. Well,
he's not out there, and he's not.
They don't have any. And then, have you ever listened to a Joe Rogan podcast? No.
Oh no. I don't know anything about him. Yeah, isn't he a wrestler? Isn't he a comedian? That's all you hear, and he doesn't do either of those on this show. Yes,
sometimes he's pretty funny.
No, he's funny, but he's not doing stand up. He's not trying to crack jokes.
Sometimes he's pretty funny.
But he's not trying.
Sometimes he's smoking joints. He's just having a conversation. misinformation.
How about the picture with Joe, Elon,
And Jordan Peterson.
and Jordan Peterson by the new truck? That was pretty spot on. That was good marketing.
Matt, I like the 4480 level. I was long and just got out there. Bring the spoos up because I want you to talk about the 4480 level, if you could, please.
That's a sexy level for you.
I think it's it's your work on TradingView that there's a big hole there that if they get above 80, they'll fill up to 4520. The way I read the profile anyway. Bring it up. And I'm not even sure what time frame I was working.
Yeah, I mean, we're right here. We're at the top of the balance for sure.
Look at that hole. Matt Dave, you taught me about holes.
Yep. But it hasn't gotten into it yet. But if it does, sure, 45.25, which is, an old low from January 19th, that could be seen. It's the same exact chart as the NASDAQ.
And the 45.12 is the 50% retray.
Is that what it is? You've done the math.
So,
okay.
First time up, 80 seems to be holding, but if they can spend a little bit of time up there, why wouldn't it just fill that hole up to 40 or 45.12?
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Again, flows, heavy flow.
Yeah, 600 points. We're 600 points down, so 4,500 is right up in here. That's this level right here. I mean,
what one is that one?
This is 45.26. That's the halfback. So
bingo.
There you go.
Bingo.
Fill in this whole
round number bingo.
But then then you don't have much room to get into 45.60. So again, anything's possible when the Fed is intervening and bidding, buying whatever it is they're buying and or selling. But I mean, look at how perfect this is. We went right down to the low of the, this is just an 89-minute. Like we went right there, 40. We couldn't break the value area. And now on the short-term charts, it's the same thing. We can't break the value area. We're right back to where it should pause, and it either needs to go or it's going to have to go. Otherwise, it's going to have to go lower and test that again before it's going to proceed higher. But that's where we are. Really, not a heck of a lot. And you see how the levels. Here's one. This is really clear. 45.88. Blah 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 blah. But again, this is not a good-looking bullish profile. No. So don't get your panties in a bunch just because you missed the last 300 points because it's already moved 300 points. And again, a lot of it happened overnight again. So if you're not just buying and holding, it's a difficult market to capture a lot of it. Although the momentum today from the opening has been up. So it's been a nice day for if you bought that breakout on the open today.
Let me ask you a question. Early feel here as we come into the spring. I've watched a few Big Ten basketball games. Are they going to? Then they look good. Then they look different than traditional Big Ten teams. I think they're longer and more athletic. They seem to be.
Well, I mean, the whole game has shifted. It doesn't matter where you look, Bob. I mean,
but the Big Ten, a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Well, I mean, they always struggle because they beat each other up with big bruising type of basketball and then go to the tournament and get schmeezed by, 6'11" point guards, and the team's got 5 of them.
Right.
I watched a bit of that Purdue Ohio State game. Phenomenal game.
Yeah. Who won?
Purdue won on a buzzer.
Yeah.
They were up by like 11, and Ohio State came back and tied it.
I mean, Michigan played Michigan State Saturday. Watched that game. They looked good in the first half. Michigan did, and then second half. To your point, they were not making threes in the first, but they were still in the game. And then they just sucked. They couldn't make a 2 or a 3 in the second half. Again, Michigan's a young team. They haven't figured out their identity. They don't have a leader. They don't know who's who there. So I actually hope that they don't even, make a run and make it to the tournament because they're just going to break everybody's heart anyways. So
no, they're not. You have to be a Michigan fan for it to
break your heart. Break my heart.
For me, it'd be great. Like, it's fantastic. They lose to McNeese State in the tournament.
Well, how about this? Again, parity. How about Kansas? Everybody's like, they're at number one. They're at home against Kentucky Saturday. Wow, dude. How about that? Spank. They got crushed. They lost by 20 to Kentucky in Lawrence. Rockhawk, Jayhawk, not so much.
What I love is that you
and we also should have talked about the other sporting event, which is one of my favorites, the Farmers Open at Torrey this weekend. my son was down there and they had the overtime. Our boy Will Zalatoris again just fucking left those 2 putts, dude. Oh,
is he stuck with the arm lock putting, or is he back?
yeah, no, he did it. I mean, but he had 2 beautiful putts. One was like a 25-footer. He literally it was a half a rotation on the cup. That one would have won it. And then instead of making it, he tied, went into overtime. And then in the overtime, in the 18th hole, same thing. He had another one that he could have won it. And it like hopped. It was just the late afternoon greens that zoomed him.
So who won it?
Zitz. Like, I don't know.
Really? Like blackheads or whiteheads?
I don't know. Lick. I don't know. I've never heard of the guy, but it was his first win too. And his family all came out and gave him a hug, and it was sweet. So
yeah, it was very
cool.
beautiful.
But
all right, listen, please visit at marketvitals.io. Please share, retweet, infringe on the broadcast as you will. Please visit Amazon.com and search for Shrimp Mojo and do yourself a favor, cook somebody an incredible meal.
I don't know about you, Bob, but this West Coast swing of golf is my favorite. It was always my favorite because, again, in January they're playing Torrey Pines. I think this week is Pebble.
Yep.
And then, or this week or I can't remember. And then they hop over to the Phoenix Open. And the crowds go crazy. I think that's usually Super Bowl weekend. So that must be 2 weeks out, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, and the great thing about it is Jim Nance is calling all these things. He was in Torrey Pines Saturday, and then he flew to KC for that game on Sunday, right? He did the KC game yesterday with Tony Romo blowing his load, by the way. Did you watch? I mean, Tony Romo was out of his mind.
He was into the game.
He was into it. Like, he loved it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But you know what? I don't mind it versus, like, I can't stand listening to Troy Aikman. I mean, geez, Troy Aikman.
Troy Haterade?
I mean, Joe Buck is fine, but Troy Aikman just says dumb things.
All right. I'm short now, Matt.
All right.
I'm short, and
it has been 4 hours of one-way train. We're getting there, but the 10 minutes still says ride the train until you can't.
All right, I lied. I'm not short. I'm just kidding. All right, listen. Support your local butcher, and you have a great day, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Bobby. Peace.
See ya.